Minky 2015.
There's a town in Pokemon Land called Blackthorn.
I don't know. A horrifying yet funny tale of savage slaughter, regret, and mental deconstruction as Ash systematically rids himself of his closest friends and loved ones, then finds himself resorting to suicide. One shot.
This is like twice as long as the longest one we've read, I think. Oh, but this one started off pretty funny. Aw, damn it.
We'll find out. Let's
Alright,
get into this.
Yes.
I found I couldn't sleep one night and decided to write a wonderfully dark Pokemon comedy. The morning broke with a picturesque sunrise. Bright orange rays lit the forest, giving it an emerald glow. What? Emeralds are green. Why is bright orange rays making... Alright, whatever. I'm good. Ash and his companions... That's Brock and Misty. Were awakening from a peaceful night's sleep. Yawn. Oh man, I really need to eat something. Come on, Pikachu. Ash rolled out of his sleeping bag and put on his scruffy gray trainers. Morning, Ash. Brock greeted cheerfully as he removed his steel teapot from the campfire. He was always the first one to rise in the morning. Yo, Brock, how about some scrambled eggs? I'm starving, Ash asked cheekily. How about you go get some firewood? Then maybe I'll cook you some breakfast. Brock replied with a chuckle. He removed a newspaper from his backpack and began to read. Yeah, I hear you. Where's the big mouth? Ash asked, referring to Misty. Oh, I think she's gone behind those trees to take a leak or something, Brock said, preoccupied with his paper. He vaguely waved his hand in the direction of some nearby bushes. 3 days we spent in this stupid forest. If I have to wipe my ass on leaves much longer, I'm gonna crack, Ash joked crudely as he made his way into the thicket of trees. You perverts better not be spying on me, Misty screeched. Concealed by the bushes, Ash winced with frustration at the piercing pitch of her voice. Brock was so startled he almost spilled his coffee over his lap. I wish she would fuck off, Ash thought to himself as he gathered the wood.
What, Misty, eh?
I know, right? I hope you're not cooking eggs. You know I hate eggs, Missy whinged in an ungrateful tone as she emerged from the bush. You know something? Where I come from, you get what you're given, or you don't eat, Brock responded, annoyed. Missy slumped down on the grass and prodded the fire with a stick. Where's Ash with that firewood? I'm famished, Misty whined. Togi, agreed Togepi. Give the guy a break. He'll be back soon. Brock began to prepare some plates and cutlery on the fold-away table. Ash and Pikachu were still collecting firewood in the clearing under the shade of some tall trees. He was complaining about Misty to himself as he struggled to keep the twigs and sticks from falling back on the ground. Stupid Misty, always following me around all day. Wish she'd get a life. Pikachu. Even Pikachu was annoyed. Yeah, you're telling me, Ash laughed. Suddenly, his chuntering was interrupted by a blood-curdling scream from overhead. Scared senseless, Ash dropped his firewood and looked up wide-eyed as strange figures raced through the leaves at frightening speed. Shit! Ash grabbed Pikachu and plowed through the bushes, desperate to escape whatever it was that made that terrifying noise. He stumbled through the foliage and burst into the campsite. You guys, there's something back there, panted Ash. Where's the firewood? God, you can be so selfish sometimes, Misty complained. Never mind that, I almost got killed, Ash exaggerated. Don't overreact, Ash. You probably just disturbed a Pidgey or something, said Brock reassuringly. It didn't sound like one, right, Pikachu? Pika.
Pikachu's got like a 5 o'clock shadow and like a cigar.
Pika. Yeah, totally. Well, anyways, the fire's gone out. Looks like we're gonna have to wait until lunch for something to eat. Ash, start packing up. We need to get on the road by 8 o'clock if you want to catch Claire at the Blackthorn gym tomorrow, Brock said as he began to roll up his sleeping bag. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I suppose we can get some food on the way. There's bound to be a shop or a gas station somewhere, Ash chirped, putting on his favorite cap. Oh great, I'll have to miss out on breakfast. If only Ash never destroyed my bike, I wouldn't have to live like a smelly gypsy in the woods with you two losers, Misty complained as she viciously packed her things away. Ash was instantly enraged. He narrowed his eyes and stormed over to Misty, kicking her bag out of her hands. You stupid bitch! All you ever do is go on about that fucking bike. Why don't you do something helpful, like shutting your trap for 5 minutes, yelled Ash. Misty stared in astonishment. Hey, watch your language, Ash. Brock stepped in. Yeah, well, if she doesn't like it, then she can just piss off home. No one asked her to come, ranted Ash. Misty stood up furious at Ash. You jerk! I never would have met you if you hadn't stolen my bike, she pointed out. You see? There it is again! My bike this, my bike that. Fuck you, Misty, roared Ash. Be quiet, both of you. Misty, I don't want to hear any more about your bike. Digging it up all the time won't bring it back. And Ash, you need to calm down. Do you ever expect to be a Pokemon master with that attitude? Okay? Good. End of discussion. Brock usually ended Ash and Misty's arguments. After packing away all of the camping gear, Ash, Brock, and Misty set out to Blackthorn City. They walked down the dusty road in silence until they came to a shop. Misty went to buy some snacks while Ash and Brock waited outside consulting their map. When suddenly, vroom!
I think Misty's justified in being upset about the loss of a bike because if you recall, in the Pokemon world, bikes cost like $1 million.
Yeah, they're pretty.
So
yeah, pretty expensive.
It's a little, yeah.
Yeah.
I think she could be.
She's never getting that back.
No,
man.
not from that. What's his name?
From Ash. Yeah. Vroom! Officer Jenny pulled up on her motorcycle. Hey there, kids. I was wondering if you could help me. She inquired, friendly as ever. Officer Jenny! Oh, my sweet Officer Jenny. What do you say we ditch these kids and go on a date? Brock asked, mesmerized by the young woman. What's up with him?
Oh, holy shit!
What?
I actually remember that from the show. The whole thing where like, Brock was, in the first story, Brock was cheating on Misty with like everyone.
Yeah.
Wasn't he totally like hearts for eyes in love with like every girl character they met? Officer Jenny, Nurse Joy,
might be
every
right.
Officer Jenny, every.
It's been like 10 years since I even
totally
tried to watch that show.
And actually, I think this is kind of accurate to how Misty acted too. She was kind of like the always yelling and screaming and being annoyed about things.
This is real.
Yeah.
This is too real.
Ash is the only one who's very out of place.
What's up with him? She asked, half flattered and half annoyed at the childish offer. Oh, don't mind him. He's always like this around girls. How can we help? Ash asked. Well, I was wondering, since you just came from the forest, did you happen to see anything strange? Like what? Ash asked, intrigued. Well, I don't want to scare you, but there may have been local reports about a group of marauding Pokemon attacking innocent people in the area. There was also one report of a young child being abducted by them. I wonder if you might have seen anything. That's terrible, Ash said, shaking his head. Sorry, Officer Jenny, we never saw anything. But we'll call you straight away if we do, Brock said, happy to help. Thank you very much. It's good to know there are some reasonable kids around. It makes our job a lot easier. And remember, stay on the roads. It'll be much safer. Unless you get hit by a car. And make sure you stick together. And they tend to attack people on their own. She waved goodbye, started up her engine, and roared off into the distance. Whoa. What kind of Pokemon goes around attacking people? Ash thought out loud. Maybe it was them I saw in the forest. I wouldn't worry, Ash. Pokemon don't tend to attack people unless they're provoked, warned Brock. What Pokemon is that? Misty asked as she came out of the shop holding several plastic bags. Oh, it's nothing important. What did you get for lunch? Brock asked. It was now dusk. The gang... Okay, that's... I was like, never gonna know what they had for lunch. It was now dusk. The gang walked several miles more before Ash complained that he was hungry and needed food if he was to carry on. Contrary to what Officer Jenny told them, he strayed from the highway and entered the dense woodland that flanked the right side of the road to take shelter. The dark silhouette of the treetops against the dark, foreboding clouds looked menacing as they towered overhead. It began to rain. Okay, guys, that's far enough for today. Let's stop here and set up camp. I could do with a bite to eat myself, Brock said, arching his back as he dropped his backpack. All right, food! Ash exclaimed. Brock scouted the area for a suitable spot to set up the campfire, while Ash and Misty squabbled over the plastic bag, arguing over which food belonged to who. The scent of fresh ham, cheese, and various other delectable treats wafted through the evening air. Little did the gang know that the scrumptious goodies were attracting the indigenous residents of the forest. Strange noises emanated from the trees overhead on all sides. Guys? Brock tried to warn his friends, but Ash and Misty were engrossed in their argument. Misty, for the last time, give me the bag, Ash bellowed. Why? So you can eat everything and leave nothing for me? You never even paid for any of it, you scrounger, retorted out Ash. Well, if you never stole my bike, I wouldn't even be here, yelled Misty. Ash felt something snap inside. At the moment, Ashy. At the mention of Misty's wretched bike. Fine! I have the fucking lot of you greedy bitch.
What?
That's what it says, man.
No, it's fine! Exclamation mark. Have the fucking lot, you greedy bitch.
Ah, I read it as an I. Fine, have the fucking lot, you gritty bitch! Ash roared monstrously as he shoved the bag into Misty's chest, knocking her to the ground. You've done nothing but complain since I met you. Nothing's ever good enough. I hate you so much, I wish you were dead. Just as Misty was going to yell back, there was a sudden rush of leaves. A vicious pack of screaming mankeys led by a primate flew out of the trees and surrounded Misty. What the? Help me, you guys! Misty yelled. Oh, Jesus! Just keep still! Brock shouted as he fished around for Geodude's Pokeball. Hey, Misty. I didn't know your family was coming to visit. Maybe you could introduce us? Ash chuckled as he observed the irate pack of Pokemon beating their chests. You stupid jerk, get rid of them, commanded Misty. They only want the food. Just give it to them. Ash, stop laughing and help out, instructed Brock. Chill out, Brocco. They're only a bunch of mankeys. Ha! Look at her. They're only a bunch of mankeys. Look at her, she's crap at her pants, Ash jested, unaware that this was the pack of marauding Pokemon Officer Jenny warned them of. The primate growled and suddenly the rabid creatures flew at Misty, attaching themselves to her arms and legs. Help me! She screamed as the voracious creatures sunk their fangs deep into the soft skin. Blood gushed heavily as the merciless creatures ripped bloody hanks of flesh clean from the bone. Get off! Help! No! Please! She was cut short. Ash and Brock were engulfed in fear and shock as the Mankey tore Misty's windpipe from her throat cavity, holding it high in the air like a trophy. Her gurgling blood-soaked yelps began to grow softer as life began to escape the young girl's body. There is no love for Misty in this story. Like, zero love. Holy shit. You bitch, I hope you die. And she does. Jeez. Misty! No! Ash screamed as he ran to rescue her. Brock locked Ash's arms behind his back and struggled to hold him. Don't be an idiot, they'll all attack you too! Brock warned fearfully. The primate suddenly screamed to brutally beat Misty's head. Her jaw and nose were crushed at the berserk creatures ferociously, smashing its huge fist down onto her face. Two other mankeys squabbled over the large strip of flesh torn from her leg, and another was gnawing her ankle down to the bone, trying to remove her foot. The primate's fur was drenched in a deep red by the spurting blood, and as it mercilessly battered her face to a bloody pulp, her eyeballs burst and began to leak a yellow substance. Get the fuck off me, Ash roared as he broke free from Brock's grip. Pikachu! Electric attack! Ash. No! Brock screamed helplessly as Pikachu leapt into the air and began to charge up. It suddenly went dark. Pikachu's body was surging with a devastating power that it caused the clouds to part and swirl high overhead. It charged itself to such a dangerously high level that the static energy in the air vaporized the dew off the surrounding grass and gave off a frightening loud, vibrating noise. Misty was surely going to die. Idiot! You'll finish her off! But it was too late. Now, Pikachu! Ash screamed furiously. Pikachu attacked. And with a tremendous flash of light, an earth-shattering crack, and the tremendously powerful supercharged lightning bolt struck Misty in the chest, attracted by the metal on her red braces.
Does she have braces?
I think they mean her, like...
Suspenders?
Suspenders, yeah.
Okay.
Her hair burst into a roaring greenish-purple ball of fire. Her blood was instantly vaporized in her veins, causing her to convulse violently. It seemed as if the whole forest had exploded in a brilliant shower of sparks, flaming wood as 6 million volts of energy surged through her body, killing every single living microbe. The Mankey screamed out in terror at the horrific sight and fled to the safety of the trees. The primate looked back and noticed Togepi, who was cowering under some large leaves. It snarled victoriously and grabbed the small creature who was squealing and wriggling with fear as it was carried off, never to be seen again. Oh shit! And with one final explosion, it was all over.
What kind of aim is that? Pikachu's just like completely missed every single Pokemon in here.
Yeah.
That was weird. Also,
it's piss poor aim is what it is.
What kind of attack is that? I mean, that's not an attack in Pokemon. That's pretty badass.
Yeah, that's pretty badass. It was silent. Heavy clouds of smoke laid on the ground. Ash recoiled as the smell of charred flesh waffled through the air. Misty! Oh God! Ash yelped as he cautiously made his way through the veins of smoke, choking and sputtering. Suddenly Ash stopped in terror. Oh my God. Misty had been roasted alive. Her flesh had been literally cooked. Her eyes were empty, smoldering sockets. Her organs were flash-boiled in her stomach, which exploded from her abdomen during the electrocution.
Wait, they were boiled in her stomach? Mm-hmm. How did they get in there? Okay.
Ash noticed the surrounding tree branches were draped with intestines. He instantly dropped to his knees and vomited violently. Jesus Christ, help us! Help, please help us, someone! Ash screamed hysterically. Smack! Brock hit Ash in the face and rammed him up against a tree. You fucking moron, you killed her. Ash looked terrified as Brock landed another blow Yeah! Another blow into his jaw, knocking him into the ground as Ash remained on the ground crying. He was reminiscing the adventures he and Mystery had been through, all the times they fought, all the times they laughed. It was unbelievable. 5 minutes ago she was alive as ever, and now she's dead. The very thought of her started to make him question his own existence as he lay grieving on the damp forest floor. This can't be real. Brock walked a few paces towards the nearby lake. He put his hands on his hip and hung his head in thought. He looked out across the water. Fuck! Brock barked in abrupt... wow, alliteration almost. Brock barked in abrupt frustration, sending the curse word echoing across the calm water. I didn't know it would kill her! Ash sobbed. Pikachu ran up his back and sat on his shoulder, trying to comfort him. Well, what the fuck do you think happens when you electrocute someone? Brock roared sarcastically. For your information, I was trying to help her! Ash yelled, defensively, trying to convince himself he had done nothing wrong. You stupid prick, Brock snared. What are we gonna do now? Ash said, turning his gaze to Misty's charred remains. I'll tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna throw her in the lake and pray to God no one fucking finds her. Yes! Come on, get up. Grab her feet, ordered Brock. But we can't just throw her. Oh my God, this is so fucked up. Ash despaired. Fine, I'll fucking do it myself. Brock began to drag Misty into the lake, her limbs cracking with stiffness against the friction of the ground. Brock heaved her on her stomach and rolled her into the water. Ash watched as her lifeless corpse floated over the water's pristine surface, dyeing the water black with burnt skin. Brock picked up his backpack and walked away from Ash. Wait, Brock! Where are you going? Ash asked as he circled in front of Brock. I've had enough. I'm going home, and I suggest you do the same. Brock brushed past Ash and walked into the forest path towards the main road. Ash's eyes filled with tears. But we gotta get to the Blackthorn gym! Ash yelled, trying to act as if nothing had happened. Oh, wake up, Ash! It's over! No more Pokemon, no more gym badges, no more journeys, no more us! It's over, Brock said firmly, the two boys staring at each other silently. You do what you want, I'm out of here. Ash watched as Brock swiftly walked down the path and passed out of sight. Ash never felt more alone in his entire life. A frantic despair churned in his stomach as he thought about the possible consequences of his crime. Suddenly, his thoughts were interrupted by a warm trickle of liquid coursing down the groove of his spine. Pikachu had pissed on him. Nice. Good job, Pikachu. Ash grabbed a handful of Pikachu's loose skin and hurled him to the floor. It's your fucking fault! You fucking rat! Go on, fuck off! Ash screamed demonically. Pikachu looked heartbroken. Ash had never hit him before. I said get out of here! Ash picked up a heavy stick and threatened to hit the poor creature. Pikachu looked at Ash one last time and scurried off into the forest. Ash let out a great wail of despair and threw his Pokeball in the water. Fuck, that's terrible! Don't set him free or nothing, just throw him to the bottom of the goddamn water. Jeez, that's terrible. Then collapsed to his knees, shivering with guilt and anxiety. He stayed there, in the pitch-black woods, with Misty's dead body bobbing in the water's surface for hours. For the rest of his life, his memory would be haunted by that tragic evening. Ash walked all night. He lost count of the miles he traveled. Dawn broke, that's when the sign for Pallet Town came into view. Ash found some comfort in the fact that he'd be home soon. The streets were battered, and God, I'm having trouble now. This is a long one. Mm-hmm. It's not as funny as I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm. Wait, did it say it was a dark comedy?
Yeah. I don't know. It's pretty good, but
It's not fine.
It's not bad. I want to know what happens at the end now. I want to know. I need to know what's going to happen. Do they all get back together and have a happy fun times?
Did you read the description? Said he systematically eliminates. Was that the word?
I don't know. Maybe, yeah. Okay. Dawn broke. That's when the sign for Pallet Town came into view. Ash found some comfort in the fact that he'd be home soon. The streets were bathed in the morning's bleak blue light, making it seem cold and unwelcoming. Ash trudged his way along the familiar dirt road. His blisters were throbbing from the night's long trek. Finally, he was home. Oh, Jesus. What am I going to tell my mom? Ash thought aloud as he turned the doorknob. He stepped over the threshold and hung his hat on the coat stand. Ash? Ash! Oh my God, I wasn't expecting you. I always told you to call before you visit. Mrs. Ketchum said in a rather frustrated tone as she descends the staircase, revealing a dressing gown. He expected a warmer greeting from his own mother, for God's sake. Mom, what's going on? Ash inquired. Absolutely nothing. Come on. I'll make you some breakfast, she said evasively, ushering Ash into the kitchen. Mom, there's someone upstairs, Ash said. No, there isn't, honey. You must be imagined. Hey, sweetheart, make me some coffee, would you? Hell, I need the caffeine after that workout. Sounded a familiar voice. Oh, God. Professor Oak! Ash dropped. So apparently Ash's mom is a whore in all stories.
Yeah.
I
was that in the anime? I don't remember.
I don't know, man. I don't know. She's a bit of a whore. Well, maybe not in this one. There could be like a mutual relationship. It's possible. Yeah. Ash dropped to the floor and began to heave with disgust. What in God's name was happening to his life? He just went through hell watching his friend die, and now he returns home to find his mom was a whore?
Okay, he's jumping to that conclusion too.
Yeah. Look, Ash, it's not what you think, really. Ash's mom yelled. Ash got up off the floor looking mortified. He silently made his way out of the kitchen and up the stairs. Ash! Please just listen to me. Ash just ignored her as he entered his bedroom. He noticed someone was in his bed. It was Mr. Mime. Ash was so furious, his pupils dilated, and the skin on his neck began to break out in a hot itch. His life was utterly destroyed. He lost his only two friends, his Pokemon, his dream, and even the trust he had in his mother was gone. And now his bed. This was the last straw. Ash was tired, hungry, and on the brink of insanity. All he wanted was to sleep. And looking at that fat piece of blue and pink shit lying in his bed made him feel as if he had been replaced. As if no one even cared that he had left home in the first place. He noticed Mr. Mime's broom propped up against the chest of drawers. He reached out and grabbed it, and with great strength broke the handle in half. Broke the handle from the head. Ash's shadow loomed over the peaceful Mr. Mime. Oh, paint that picture for me. That evil, insane thoughts of murder and revenge were now shrouding Ash's once innocent mind. Wake up, you pig! Ash yelled, staring at Mr. Mime from a deep slumber. A worry look broke out across Mr. Mime's face. Mime? Mr. Mime? Mr. Mime! The weird creature hid behind its hands in fear of being beaten. Motherfucker! Ash bellowed insanely as the heavy wooden pole came crashing down on Mr. Mime's soft, bald head, splitting it like a ripe watermelon. Blood spattered all over Ash's face and clothes and relentlessly pulverized Mr. Mime's body. He felt tremendous satisfaction as he felt the ribs and limbs break under the blows of the stick. Mime, Mr. Mime spluttered. Ash roared as he delivered the final crushing blow, extinguishing Mr. Mime's life. His arms were exhausted from the beating. The pole was slick with gore, as were the bed sheets. Shit! Ash looked at his blood-soaked hands. What had he become? Suddenly, Ash's mom and Professor Oak burst into the room. What the hell is going on? She shouted. Professor Oak stepped back, horrified at the violent scene. Mr. Mime was still twitching and bleeding. Ew. Christ almighty, he gasped, as Ash turned his psychotic gaze towards him. I'm sick of this life. Fucking sick of it. Ash sobbed. He dropped the broom handle and opened his bedroom window. Professor Oak was in shock at what Ash was doing. Remember that day I left Pallet Town and I said I was going to be the Pokemon Master? I was so fucking stupid to believe that. I should have known nothing would go right for me, Ash recalled, grinning. Ash, I think you need to calm down and let your mother help you, Professor Oak suggested, trying to hide his shock. Ash pulled himself up and sat on the windowsill. I'm upset with my brain now. Ash pulled himself up and sat on the windowsill. He looked at Professor Oak and his mom smiling serenely. Tell Gary he's right. I am a loser. And with his last words spoken, Ash threw himself out the window.
Wait, what's the second story? Is he gonna die?
Yeah. Ash seemed to move slowly as he plummeted backwards through the air. His eyes gazed up at the sky. He noticed a shape gliding through the clouds, and it looked just like a strange bird Pokemon he saw the first day he left home. Ironic, it would also be the last one he'd ever see. Ash's peaceful thoughts came to an end with a crushing force. He was impaled on a small white picket fence on the perimeter of the house. Ash! No! Yelled Professor Oak, looking out the window. Ash's mom came running to the front door, wailing his name in horror. She cradled his dying body in her arms, weeping. Ash! Ash, please, don't die, she sobbed, burbling his final blood-choked words. I'm sorry, Misty, then slipped away into death's icy black grip. Suddenly, a bright light blinded Ash, but he couldn't move. The sun? He looked around and saw Brock reading a newspaper by the campfire. Weird. If I'm dead, what's Brock doing over there? Ash realized he was zipped into his sleeping bag a little too tight. I ain't dead. It was all a bad dream. Really? Don't do this to me, Story. Don't do this to me, Story! Misty, where's Misty? Ash yelled. Brock looked over. Frantically, Ash struggled to unzip his sleeping bag and stumbled to his feet. Shockingly cold, wet feeling swept over his lower region of Ash's body. He had pissed himself. Yeah. The wet patch spread right across the front of his boxers, making it obvious what had happened. I gotta find Misty! Ash, oh my god, you peed yourself, stammered Brock. Misty crawled out of her tent to see what all the commotion was about. Ash! Brock! Keep it down, someone was trying to get some beauty sleep, she barked. Misty! Cried Ash as he bounded towards her. Her eyes widened at the sight of his wet patch. Okay, alright.
I read it.
Yeah, I read it. I was like, yeah, you guys are gonna love this. Her eyes widened at the sight of his wet patch, and that wasn't all. He had morningwood, which flopped around as he ran. You disgusting dork, she shrieked, but Ash didn't care. Laugh! Misty's alive! He cheered. Calm down, Brock intervened. Let's all cut this childish behavior out and sit down for breakfast, suggested Brock. Ash, I think you should clean up first. Oh, and by the way, I finished repairing that tear in your sleeping bag. It should be good for tonight. Ash had damaged his sleeping bag the night before, and Brock, being the expert seamstress among the three, he had volunteered to stitch it up, and Misty had agreed to let Ash borrow her sleeping bag while she slept on blankets in her tent. Meaning, you disgusting little twerp, you pissed in my sleeping bag, it's ruined! I can never use it again, she screeched furiously. It was an accident, and besides, it'll be alright when it dries out, reassured Ash. No, it won't, it'll just stink, roared Misty. Ash, Ketchum, you owe me a new sleeping bag, a new bike, and believe me, Buster, if it doesn't end there, I'm adding interest for every day you don't pay me back. Fine, I'll pay you back. Good old Ash Ketchum always pays his way, retorted Ash as he lost his temper. He began making his way over to the backpack when he banged his toe on a large rock. He stumbled backwards, holding his foot, but then lost his balance and fell into Misty's tent, snapping the supporting frame in the process. I don't believe it! He's doing it on purpose, despaired Misty. The two argued for a good 10 minutes while Brock stood back and chuckled to himself. They're like this now. I don't know how they're gonna survive when they get married. And that's the end of the fucking story.
Man, do you remember like back in like, I don't know, grade 2, 3, or 4, when you're writing like little stories and the teacher's like, do not end it by saying, and then I woke up.
Yeah.
Like, you have to find a legitimate way to explain what happened. Don't just say it was a dream. Don't use that.
Why do they need this ending? You know what? That's the best one we read so far as like story goes. It wasn't bad enough to be good.
I would not even say it was the best as far as story goes. I thought the story was pretty terrible.
Alright.
I thought like it just goes like, okay, like
it's the best of the terrible.
Ash very accidentally Ash did not kill Misty. Pikachu did.
So yeah,
Pikachu murdered Misty. Like that was completely by accident.
Sum it up for a second here. So they fucking hate each other. And then Ash, like then out of nowhere, Mankeys fucking rip apart Misty. Ash kills her by commanding Pikachu to attack the Mankeys. So he's a fucking terrible trainer. Can't teach his goddamn thing how to train, how to shoot right direction. Can't even keep him in a Pokeball or whatever. Fuck it. Then, to prove he's even a worse trainer, he fucking pisses on his back. He boots the guy. Everybody leaves him. You know, he kills another Pokemon. He goes out of his way, like after beating up one, throwing the other ones to the bottom. Yeah, into the bottom of the water.
They're probably watertight, so they're not gonna die, but they're just gonna be trapped down there forever.
Yeah, exactly. That is a fate worse than death.
Yeah.
And then he goes off, murders a humanoid type Pokemon.
Okay, that's where like, okay, the story was already like, I was pretty like, okay, this is stupid. But when he gets home, that's where it's like, what is this writer even?
Do we need this part of the story at all?
Yeah, like what? How did he get from like, oh, Misty died and I'm kind of responsible, I'm super depressed, to being like psychotic? Like he just went like, my mom was having sex with Professor Oak. There's no possible way that they developed a loving relationship in the many months that I was gone. She must be a whore. Now I will go cry in my bed. What? The fucking family Pokemon is sleeping in my bed that I haven't been using? It makes perfect sense for someone else to use it, but no, I must murder him now. And then murder myself.
Oh my god.
It goes from like, okay, like, I'm like in a bad mood to like, oh no, this terrible thing happened. I should tell somebody. No, it's all my fault. Now I'm evil. And what even happened there? There was a lot of leaps. That's what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of leaps.
There is a lot of leaps. Yeah,
I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all.
Maybe you guys know some worse fan fiction, or maybe you write your own. Leave us a comment down below, and we'll probably read it. Maybe we'll see.
He regretted those, but even Nurse Joy had fallen asleep behind the counter. It was time for Clement to do the same. He headed back up to where they were staying. He stopped to open the door to the room he and Ash were sharing. Expecting silence, the blonde raised a confused eyebrow with the blonde. Maybe like the blonde boy, the blonde young man. The blonde roast? I don't know.
James Blonde.
I wish I had some blonde roast. The blonde raised a confused eyebrow when he was not met with such. Instead, muffled noises could be heard from behind the door. They sounded a lot like Ellipsy.